Guys, what is up? It is Chris Colgan with EXP Realty, powered by Place. In today's video, I'm gonna tell you my top 3 ways to get deals from your sphere of influence. One of the things I've mastered throughout my career. I consistently do anywhere from like 25 to 35, maybe sometimes as much as 40 deals a year on my own, just from my sphere of influence. And it's not really a huge list. I think it's around 700 or 800 people that I've added to this list throughout the year. So number one thing that I do that I think everyone should do is have about 3 annual client parties. Now, these do not have to be ragers. You can certainly get a lender or a title company you use all the time to get help sponsor and offset some of the costs. Well, what happens is, right, like, so let's say you hold 3 client parties a year, maybe one's a happy hour, maybe one's at a brewery. This gives you an opportunity to what? Give them a call, do a check-in and just say, hey, you know, what's going on? It's been a while since we talked. Just wanted to let you know that I'm having a client appreciation happy hour, you know, next Friday in Gainesville or Manassas, Fairfax, or whatever it is. I'd love to have you come. And guess what? You kind of hope they actually don't show up. I mean, obviously you want to see them, but it's money you have to spend on them for the party. But if they can't make it, it's not a big deal, because at least you have reached out to them and now you are in top of their mind. I'm like, you know what? This Chris guy, he's having parties, he's busy, he's calling me, he's checking in. And the conversation to me just flows a lot easier. And then when they do show up to the party, tell them, hey, feel free to bring a friend, whoever. And then they bring their friend out, and guess what? Their friend is thinking to themselves, man, this guy throws parties and everything for his clients. I definitely want to refer him or use him or her, because I haven't heard from my agent in like 3 years or whatever it would be. So definitely you got to pick up the phone. That's a very simple way to do it without being annoying.
I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but you are being a little irritating.
Number 2, I like to consistently still physically mail them. Yes, like the old school mail that the post office comes. I think it's good, as mail has started to die down over the last couple years due to the rise of a little thing called the internet.
I went on one of these things called a website. They got all of the inside stuff.
People are still actually opening their physical mail. Now, I used to do the Buffini and Company item of value, I think it's called. But you know what? That really was not that popular. I've gone back to it a couple times and people just really never brought it up, or they're already getting it from 3 different realtors. So a service that I use, and I'll put the link in the description of this video, is called Service for Life, what we're showing you here on the screen. It's a really cool, kind of simple newsletter. I do customize the cover letter a little bit myself, and, you know, just kind of put some details about what's going on in my life or going on with my business, talk about the local market, and then the inside, I let them fill out all the information. I don't know what it is, but people love this newsletter, as cheesy as it is. And I actually had taken someone off the list like 4 years ago, and they called me this past spring and I sold their house, and I hadn't talked to them for several years. I just dropped the ball on them, and they said, you know what, I used to love getting your newsletter, what happened to it? And I was like, oh, you know what, I must have accidentally taken you off my list because I hadn't heard from you in a long time. But they actually called me 4 years later and hadn't gotten that newsletter. So it's called Service for Life, and they actually have a service where they will mail it out for you if you want. It's a little bit more expensive, but me, I'm definitely lazy. I'm not gonna sit there and stuff all those envelopes and everything by myself. Number 3 would be social media. Now, I'm not talking going on social media and saying, hey, look at this listing right here that I just listed that's just a random house. Like, to me, like, if someone's working at a car dealership and they constantly share cars or whatever, like, I'm just gonna block that person. And I've had plenty of friends say to me, you know, such and such realtor is always sharing random houses that I don't care about. And what I found is, if you see a really cool or unique house in the MLS, just go online and share it. Or say, you know what, take a picture of you with a client, but make sure it's like a unique story. Like, maybe it's somebody that bought their first house and they did it with no money down, and you can say, hey, you know what, I helped Tanya here buy a house with no money down. Here's a picture of us. Of course, I'm gonna be looking really handsome. Picture of us right at the closing table, you know, and really happy for her. And again, you know, and obviously ask the client for permission. Or if you see something really cool and on a listing that you have and it has a unique feature, or you're in a model home, just like post pictures like that and be super consistent. And then also post on Instagram Reels or TikTok. Now, don't be frustrated if that just doesn't blow up and you don't become, you know, the next Charlie D'Amelio or whatever.
Just like, please stop talking about me.
Your goal really, it's like basically to stay constantly in front of your sphere, because you can add them on there and they will see that you're posting consistently. And I do one where I just tell some simple stories, or maybe I give a real estate tip. And a lot of times I get frustrated because I'm not getting a lot of views, but then I'll see somebody out from my sphere and they'll say, man, I love your TikTok, or I love following you on Instagram. Your stories are funny, or you're always giving out informative information. So right there, if you just did those 3 simple things during this market turndown that we're going into, it's going to be a shift here, which we've already seen. That doesn't really cost you a lot of money, and it's simple things like that. Just being consistent will help you win out in this market and grow your sphere of influence. So again, Chris Colgan with Place here at EXP Realty. Hit me up if you ever have any questions. I love helping real estate agents. As always, I'll see you at the top or from the top. Peace. I'm gonna go hang out with Slimer because it's almost Halloween.